Right now, I'm going to be talking about a pretty serious topic. We are going to be discussing the Netflix original show 13 Reasons Why, and this is a show that has sparked a lot of controversy. Now, in this video, I'm going to be talking about overall what I think of the messages that the show gave off and how I'm feeling about both sides of like this argument that people are having between saying that this is a show that sends off the wrong message to young people and a show that can be super helpful to young people and even adults and parents. And before I get into anything, just be warned right now, this video is going to talk about some serious stuff. This show contains stuff such as rape and suicide. Mostly we're going to be talking on suicide in this video. But just know, this show is pretty hardcore. Like, it did contain like some of the hardest stuff that I've ever had to watch on television, like ever. So just be warned, this is not going to be a light video. So if you're sensitive about that kind of stuff, you might want to leave now. But also, if you're interested and you haven't seen the show yet, I recommend you go and watch all 13 episodes of this show before watching this video or any video about it. Go and see it for yourself and think about how you feel about. But just a warning, I do not recommend anybody under the age of 15 watch this alone. Alright, if you're like 14 and younger, I think you should probably be watching this with a parent, or I don't know, maybe with a group of friends. But I would really say stick with a parent or an adult of some kind. Watch this with them. Alright, maybe, I don't know, maybe they can even do something where they show this in schools. Like, I don't think they'll do it because it's a really mature show, but it would definitely, I feel like it would be educational to a point. But I'm going to get past all that and we're going to get into this discussion. So, a quick breakdown of the show. So, 13 Reasons Why is a show about a junior in high school named Hannah Baker. And the show pretty much starts off a couple weeks after she commits suicide. And pretty much the other co-host or co-character on the show, main character or whatever, Clay, and he pretty much gets this box in the mail, and in this box are a bunch of audio tapes, a bunch of old school audio tapes that you would pop into a boom box or whatever. And he pretty much starts listening to these tapes, and they're tapes recorded by Hannah Baker before she killed herself. And on each of these tapes, there's 13 of them, and each tape is talking about a different person, and it's pretty much giving a reason why that person was one of the reasons she killed herself. And pretty much, if you receive these tapes, then you're one of the reasons. So at this point, Clay is, I believe, he's the 11th person to get it. He's the 11th person to get the tape. So 11 other people have seen this. The 11 other people that caused her to kill herself. And pretty much this gets dark, because pretty much he explains what everything that happened to her in those weeks leading up to her suicide and stuff, and it gets pretty dark. Now, a lot of people right now are angry at this show, mostly parents, because they feel like this show is glamorizing and romanticizing suicide. And I'm gotta disagree. Alright, I'm gonna have to disagree for a couple reasons. Number one reason people are saying this about this show is because they're saying that this TV show, pretty much, that the theme of this is revenge. That she sent these tapes out to get revenge on people who, you know, kind of did her wrong, and just to kind of get back at them. Then she ultimately killed herself in order to say, this will teach them or this will show them whatever. And people, parents and psychologists and all that are worried about kids actually starting to do this in real life in order to get revenge on people that have been mean to them. And I see the worry there because I can see how a younger kid would misinterpret the message of this show to mean something like that, which is why I recommend if you're under 15 years old, you should be watching this with a parent, or even if you're over 15, I still think you shouldn't really watch this alone. I think this is something you should watch with a parent. This is something you should watch with friends or family if you can, because this is some serious stuff that can spark some serious conversations and that can really help people open up and maybe give people an insight on what goes on in some kids' lives. And pretty much like this on the show, like some pretty horrible stuff ends up happening to Hannah. Like, you see that it wasn't just as simple as her like blaming all these people for a bunch of dumb reasons that she killed herself. She had friends stabbing her in the back and, just kind of throwing her to the side. She had she got her first kiss and everything, and this dude took a picture where in the picture nothing was even happening, and it looked like it. So this picture ruined her entire reputation and caused her to get bullied for like the rest of her stay in high school and stuff. And then like there's stuff, and there is spoilers in this, obviously, just in case anybody warning. Then towards the end, you even see like she starts to get into some more serious stuff. Like she accidentally witnessed someone get raped, one of her ex-friends that actually stabbed her in the back while she was unconscious. And then later on in the show, she even gets raped herself, and it's pretty hardcore, horrible stuff. And it's pretty horrible. All right, it goes to some really dark places. So that's why you should be careful about when you watch this show. Like, if you're not in the right mental state at the moment, maybe it's not the best thing for you to watch alone. That's all I'm saying there. But anyway, moving on. A lot of people are saying that this show is promoting revenge, that she got revenge on all these people by tormenting them with these tapes, telling them that they were one of the reasons this happened. And I didn't see it like that. I think a lot of people that did miss the overall point of this show. Like, a lot of people think that this was about revenge for her, and I feel like anyone who thought that, you did miss the point, because it wasn't about revenge. It was just her showing people that the little things matter. All right, like, you can't, like, it's kind of like this. The show overall, this show gave off so many different messages, but one of them that really stuck out to me is that is relevant to real life, is that people will say stuff and they will be mean and they will be cruel. They will do all this stupid stuff, just being jerks, just because they think they're having fun or whatever. They're laughing at people, they're making fun of people, bullying people and stuff, just for their own gains or whatever, just to boost their own ego and stuff. And they're doing this stuff and they think it's a game, but this person they're doing it to is getting this from all directions everywhere they go, and it's being piled up on their plate. And I've heard people say this before. I'm not going to go over who, but I've heard a lot of older people say this, and I think sometimes not everyone takes this into account. Human beings, us as human beings, often take the easy way out of things. We don't want to deal with the hard way, because the hard way, let's just say it like this: the right way is usually never the easy way. It's always the hard way. And when people do stuff like this, commit suicide, everyone wants to tell people it's not your fault. You couldn't have known they were going to do that. You can't control what other people do. That was that person's choice. They made that choice on their own, which is true. They did make a choice, but it's not like they weren't nudged in that direction by people. All right, I hate it. Growing up, I have always kind of known deep down that when adults said that to me, this is crazy. When adults say that, when you hear adults say that's that person's choice, and I have heard this before in school, in other places, and I'm not even going to go into that, but I've heard it before. I've heard people say that was that person's choice. We can't blame ourselves for that. You couldn't have known, all that kind of stuff. And let me just tell you, I've always known that was BS, but I never really understood until I saw this show how much BS that really is, because it is partially those people's fault. Those people just felt a need to be cruel and just be mean for no real reason, just to be jerks. And one day they bothered this particular person, and they didn't know that this person was dealing with all this other stuff besides them, but they just added on to that just because they felt a need to, for some reason, be mean. And that is what really gets me. You don't have to be like that to people. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to be cruel. And don't get me wrong, I know the world is never going to have like world peace or anything, because people are just crappy. A lot of people just are. But just that idea that people try to sit there and throw their hands up and say, I didn't have anything to do with it, when they know they did, which is what was happening in this show. All of these people were calling this girl a liar for what she was saying on the tapes and stuff, and they knew it was happening. They knew it was happening. The one dude let his friend rape his girlfriend while she was unconscious, and he didn't tell her about it. Hannah told her in the tapes, and he and her boyfriend still lied to her. That's crazy. And to protect a rapist, that's insane to me. Do you hear that? And then he decides at the last moment he's going to want to do something that and I can only imagine that stuff like that has happened to people before. I can only imagine the types of stories. And I even remember someone's talking to me about rape and stuff, and how they were saying one of the most horrible things about rape and everything is when people go on trial for it, it's usually the victim that has to prove something in court. It's usually the victim that has to go through all the hardship, that has to prove that they were violated like this, and that's pretty horrible. And I understand, like, there are false cases of that, but it's horrible to think that some people have to go through that might be innocent. And overall, like, this show just touches on so many different points that need to be brought up, because so many people just rather sweep them under the rug like they don't exist. And that's one point the show made in a particular scene where Clay actually is yelling at everyone in the hallway. He kind of has a little breakdown, and he talks about how everyone decided to start worrying about suicide, to start caring about people and all of this after somebody killed themselves and not before. And that's the crazy part. And then he even brings up at one point what happens when people stop caring. Like, it's going to happen again. And that's the crazy thing about this, because that's so true. That is so true, alright? Like, so overall, a lot of parents are unhappy with the show. They're saying, I already went over how they're saying it's kind of dramatizing and just, romanticizing and all of this stuff about suicide. It's just making suicide, I don't know, look kind of glorified in a way. And that is not what I got from this show at all. After seeing this show, like, I am not going to take nice people for granted. People who are cool, who are down to earth, good people. I won't take them to granted. Not even that I have before, but I'm definitely not going to do it now. Never. And people say that they don't either all the time. People say that, oh, I've never really taken anyone nice for granted. People lie. Alright, like, people lie about stuff like that all the time, because once again, the easy way out is just to pretend that you're innocent and stuff like that. And that's the sad part. And the easy way out for a lot of people, for a lot of parents, for a lot of adults, this is the part that might get some people upset, but the easy way out for a lot of them is to try and censor this show like they're doing. They are really not happy. A lot of parents and stuff are not happy that this show might be getting a second season that deals with equally messed up problems. And to me, that's just them taking the easy way out, because they rather sweep it under the rug and they rather try to deal with it in a very contained way instead of facing it, instead of showing their kids and stuff that this is a real thing, this is a reality, that things like this happen, and that people are cruel like this, and it pushes certain people to these points. Like, I think there was a story about a few teenagers committing suicide, and they said it was because of this show, or they associated it with this show or whatever. And let me just say off the bat, did anybody notice that they might have been talking about some of the stuff that was happening in this show was also happening to them? Some of the stuff, like adult not hearing them out when they came to them for help. Some of the stuff like them being neglected by their parents, like them being bullied in school over and over. Why was that not focused on? And just it was just easy to throw the blame onto the show completely in that situation without thinking too much further into that. I'm not even going to go into that out of respect and everything, so I'm not even going to go too deep into that, but just saying. And overall, I see why people are saying that this show might give the wrong message, but that's why, as parents and adults, we should have these realistic conversations about this kind of horrible stuff that happens more often. This is why, as friends and as, like, I don't know, fellow students or just people in the same kind of group or age group or whatever, that's why we should really support each other and be kinder to each other instead of, tearing each other down all the time, because you never know when stuff like this is going to happen, and you never know if you did just one little thing to contribute to that. Now, getting into the negative part of the show, which when I say negative, I mean the part of the show that I actually do disagree with a little bit. I did kind of feel a little weird about Clay's tape. Like, his tape, pretty much the breakdown of his tape, if you haven't seen the show, which once again I recommend you do see it if you're watching this, but the breakdown of his Clay tape is he wasn't a reason why she killed herself. She pretty much felt like he was the only light in this situation. He was the only good person. He was the only person who didn't make her feel like complete crap. He he was a decent person to her, a decent friend. Even though they had their arguments and their moments of doubt, they still were good friends. And there's even a point where where they're in that bedroom at the party together. They're kissing, they're making out, and then she freaks out on him, and she was like, in her head, she wanted him to stay, but she kind of yelled at him in reality, and he left. And then this big chain of events took place that kind of led her down the road to killing herself. And I do kind of agree that that was messed up, because you're saying pretty much to him that you did like him, all this stuff, and that he could have done more to save you, which is true. He could have, but at the same time, it's not like he didn't try. He did do what everybody else did, and I do see where some people will find that part kind of messed up, especially the part when she was like, I don't deserve him, or he hates me and stuff. She tells the counselor that, and pretty much like that would really mess you up if like somebody you liked that killed themselves thought that's how it was between you two in the end, when it really wasn't. And that's kind of sucky. But that's the only part I can somewhat disagree with when it comes to this. But even there, I can see why she made the tape to him. Like, there are multiple reasons there, such as her maybe wanting to clear the air between them and stuff, and just let that out in the moment and stuff. But overall, I think this show is really important. That's my overall message with this video. This show is important. I feel like if you're a teenager in high school, if you're someone who just graduated high school, if you're someone who's going to college, who's in college right now, maybe even if you're just some adult. And that's one thing I want to talk about, but I'll talk about that in a second. But if you're any of those things, I feel like this show could benefit you a lot. I feel like this show could really open your eyes a little bit to a lot of the small stuff you do that you don't really think about to other people that could contribute to stuff like this. And I just think it's overall a very educational show. It's a show that really can open your eyes about some of this stuff. And I think as many people over that age limit I gave of 15 watch this as possible, because I just think that's important. Another thing I kind of want to point out, one other thing I want to point out to everybody before I leave, a lot of the parents, a lot of the people who are angry at this show right now, who are saying it glamorizes suicide, it glorifies it and all that, a lot of these people have not watched the show. Alright, a lot of these people have not seen all 13 of the episodes. They have not seen the full show. So just being honest, a lot of these people are going off of what they've heard instead of what the show actually is. So just throwing that one out there as well, because that's really sad, because you have all these people trying to tear this really educational, this thing, you have people trying to tear this thing down that has connected with so many young people going through this stuff, and young people that haven't gone through this stuff. And you have this show just teaching so many people and kind of opening people's eyes, and you have all of these older people trying to tear it down and they haven't even seen it. That's crazy to me. They can't even give you a realistic opinion of the show because they haven't watched it, and that's insane to me. That's all I want to say before I go. I'm going to leave it at that. But overall, guys, 13 Reasons Why is a show I think you should watch if you haven't seen. Like I said, if you're under the age of 15, watch it with a parent. Alright, but anyway, that's it for this video. I know the videos have been kind of weird lately. I haven't been uploading at all really this past week or two. I'm going to talk about that in a video later this week, so if you're interested in that, stick around and stuff. But anyway, leave likes if you like this video, dislikes if you hated it. Leave comments, definitely. I really want to see what's going on with comments, and if you want to see what I'm going to be doing in the future, hit the subscribe button. But anyway guys, thanks for watching. I will see you on the next video.